Hey everybody, Mike Naso here from IPR365.com and podweather.com with the latest on Hurricane Ida. Hurricane Ida is now inland over Nicaragua. It has made landfall, and here's the satellite of the Atlantic Basin. And I gotta tell you, even though it's November, hurricane season goes from June 1st to November 30th in the Atlantic. And any time within that period, you could come under siege from a tropical cyclone, be it a depression with heavy rainfall or a full-fledged Cat 5 hurricane. In this case, we have a rainfall-filled Category 1 hurricane, and that is not good news here for those areas of the mountainous regions out here in Nicaragua and Honduras. The mountainous regions, when the rain comes, you get mudslides, torrential downpours, flooding, and as we saw in '98 with Hurricane Mitch, that milled around out there, tens of thousands of people could potentially lose their lives in the cases of severe flooding. I mean, I had to say it 3 times just to get across how terrible the flooding with Hurricane Mitch was in 1998. Now, the latest on Hurricane Ida as of 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is at 13.1 north, 83.7 west. 75-mile-an-hour winds gusting to 90, so it's right at minimal hurricane strength, moving northwest at 5, and that is very important for the rainfall. We want it to get on out of here fast because the more it sits and spins, the greater the chance of the flooding rains. Also, the direction is important. If it moves northwest, north-northwest, and north, it's over water much faster, has less time to weaken, which it already appears to be doing. However, if it takes the left edge of this cone, it may not survive land. 987 millibars on the pressure there, and the hurricane hunters were out there and they were taking measurements and determined that it strengthened pretty quick about 12 to 18 hours ago, and there's the visible, and right at the end there's the eye of the hurricane, now obviously inland over Nicaragua, and based on that loop, it kind of looks like it may have taken a little bit of a leftward jog. If it gets back on track, whether or not that's further west now or further east, the track is very uncertain. This hurricane is causing headaches because there is no real indicator on where it may go, especially when you get to the longer run. Then things get even more dicey. Here's the infrared satellite imagery. You can see there's the eye at the end of it, that little warm spot on satellite imagery. And note at the beginning of this loop how convection was very large and very well defined, and now at the end it's rather small and dwindling. So this hurricane is weakening and may not be a hurricane right now anymore. Here's the model guidance, and most of the models indicate it will come back out over the Caribbean, then move northwest, then north, and then probably northeast. You can see the GFS swings it back around. You can see the no gaps takes it towards Panama City Beach. Canadian model takes it into intercoastal city Louisiana, but people in Louisiana, let not your heart be troubled, because it also takes a subtropical, extratropical type of system and kind of merges the two of them over the Gulf of Mexico. And so this is what it's showing as Ida. This is the other system. And if you're going to have a low pressure like that and you're going to have a hurricane, there's going to be wind shear, different transitioning. It's not going to be where we see this a strong hurricane and then a different low just to the south of it. That would be pretty impossible. Thered have to be some interaction to change the system, whether or not we'd be talking about a gale center or just a coastal storm. That has a lot of implications for the Gulf Coast. Now here's the GFDL, which makes Hurricane Ida a Category 4 hurricane in the southeast Gulf with winds of about 150 miles an hour. Other models have been showing it clipping Cuba. So Cuba, they know they could get hit. Just a year ago, almost to the day, Hurricane Paloma slammed into Cuba. Even though it had weakened from a 4 down to a 2, it still caused a lot of headaches, and you don't want to have to deal with that. So we'll see if the GFDL is wrong. It probably is, and trust me, folks, if for some reason 126 hours from now Ida is a Category 4 hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico for some odd reason, don't think that it's going to hit land at that intensity. It's not August, and even in August it's hard to get them hitting in that intensity. So the waters are cooler, the shear will be higher, so this may not occur at all that the GFDL is shown. But hey, it's GFDL. Gotta watch it. Here's the wind shear, there's the eye of the hurricane right on the coast there, and you can see the pattern with it over the top of it, very, very favorable. But as it moves north, southwesterly shear should increase. That's why the hurricane center, and also with land interaction into account, that's why the hurricane center with the shear and land interaction is not showing this thing as a hurricane, a tropical storm, and then a hurricane and a major hurricane real fast. Whether or not that happens, we've seen it before. In November of 2001, Hurricane Michelle was a tropical storm dwindling here on the coastline. It came out, quickly became a Cat 4 hurricane. So, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but likely with this southwesterly shear and this little doodad trying to spin up in the southwest Gulf, not likely, I wouldn't say. So, hey, that's about it for Ida. Hey, take a look at that hurricane, and that's my volume, but take a look at the hurricane there in the Caribbean. Look at how well organized this was looking last night. Thank goodness this thing didn't pop out a well-defined eye, otherwise it could have been a lot stronger. But there's the end. You could see barely any convection coverage, so Ida weakening, but what it does in the longer run will be important for Central America, potentially Cuba, and the United States. I'm Mike Naso from podweather.com. I'll see you next time.